The quantum key pulsed in Jonathan Pierce's palm, its crystalline surface reflecting the setting sun as he stood before the Victorian mansion. His grandmother's final message had been cryptic: the house chooses its guardian, and now it chooses you. He hadn't spoken to her in 15 years, not since that strange night when she'd told him about stars that sang and doors that opened between worlds. Everyone had said she'd lost her mind, but now here he was, holding a key that seemed to bend light around it. The mansion loomed before him, its architecture defying conventional geometry. Windows appeared and disappeared depending on how he looked at them, and the spires seemed to reach into dimensions beyond normal space. The garden surrounding the house bloomed with flowers he'd never seen in any botanical guide. Some appeared to float inches above the ground, others emitted soft harmonies that made his skin tingle. As Jonathan approached the front door, the quantum key grew warm. Before he could insert it into the lock, the door swung open silently. The foyer beyond seemed to stretch impossibly far, its walls shimmering with an iridescent light that had no visible source. "Welcome, Jonathan Pierce," a voice called from above. "We've been expecting you." He looked up to see a figure descending the grand staircase. His breath caught in his throat. She moved with an ethereal grace, her silver hair floating as if suspended in water. Her skin had a subtle opalescent sheen, and her eyes held the depth of galaxies. She wore what appeared to be a dress made of living starlight. "I am Aurelia," she said, her voice carrying harmonics that made the air vibrate. "I was your grandmother's companion and the keeper of this house. Now, I suppose, I shall be yours." Jonathan struggled to find his voice. What are you?" A smile played at her lips. "I am a quantum sentinel from the Andromeda galaxy. Your grandmother and I maintained this node for 30 years. This house exists in multiple dimensions simultaneously, serving as an anchor point for reality itself." Before Jonathan could process this information, a holographic display materialized in the air between them, showing a complex network of interconnected points of light. "Your grandmother was part of an ancient order," Aurelia continued. "They discovered that our universe requires certain focal points to maintain its stability. This mansion is one of 12 quantum nodes scattered across Earth." "Why me?" Jonathan asked, still trying to comprehend the impossible situation. "I'm just a software engineer. I design virtual reality programs." "Perhaps that's exactly why," Aurelia said, stepping closer. Her presence made the air around them shimmer. "You understand the nature of constructed realities. Besides, the house has already accepted you. Can't you feel it?" He could. The mansion thrummed with an energy that resonated with something deep inside him, a connection he couldn't explain but somehow recognized, as if it had always been there, waiting to be awakened. A sudden tremor ran through the building. The holographic display flickered, showing red warning signals. Aurelia's expression turned serious. "It seems your arrival was anticipated by others as well. The Stellaris Corporation has been trying to locate the quantum nodes for years." The windows darkened as several sleek vehicles appeared in the sky above the mansion. "What do they want?" Jonathan asked, though he already suspected the answer. "Control," Aurelia said. "They believe they can harness the node's power for their own purposes. They don't understand that the nodes are living entities, choosing their own guardians." She turned to him, her cosmic eyes intense. "You have a choice to make, Jonathan Pierce. You can walk away now, return to your ordinary life. Or you can accept your grandmother's legacy and help me protect something far greater than yourself." The mansion's energy pulsed through him, and in that moment, Jonathan knew there was no real choice at all. He'd spent his life creating virtual worlds, and now he stood at the threshold of something far more extraordinary. "Show me what I need to do," he said. Aurelia's smile returned, brilliant as a newborn star. "Then let's begin your training. Quickly, we have much to learn and little time." She extended her hand, and as Jonathan took it, reality itself seemed to shift around them. The mansion's quantum barriers activated, rendering them invisible to the searching vehicles above. But as Jonathan followed Aurelia deeper into the impossible house, he knew this was just the beginning. His grandmother's legacy would change not only his life but potentially. The quantum mansion's library defied conventional physics. Books floated between ornate shelves that stretched upward into infinity, their spines glowing with scripts from civilizations beyond Earth's knowledge. Jonathan Pierce sat at an antique desk that seemed to phase between solid oak and pure energy, watching as Aurelia demonstrated the fundamentals of quantum manipulation. "Your grandmother called it reality weaving," Aurelia explained, her opalescent skin catching the light from a dozen dimensional windows. She gestured gracefully, and the air between them crystallized into complex geometric patterns. The mansion exists at an intersection point between multiple realities. Through these intersections, we can reshape local spacetime. Jonathan reached out to touch one of the floating crystals, feeling its resonance with something deep inside him. Is that why Stellaris wants this place so badly? For the ability to manipulate reality? Partly, Aurelia's cosmic eyes darkened. But they don't understand the true nature of the quantum nodes. They think they can extract and weaponize this power. She waved her hand, and a holographic map materialized, showing 12 pulsing points of light across the globe. These nodes form a network that maintains the stability of our dimensional plane. Disturb one, and you risk causing cascade failures across reality itself. A soft chime echoed through the mansion's impossible spaces. Hidden panels in the library walls slid open, revealing screens filled with quantum data streams. Another probe, Aurelia noted, her starlight dress shifting colors with concern. They're testing our defenses, looking for weaknesses in the dimensional barriers. Jonathan studied the data scrolling past, surprised to find he could understand it. The mansion's quantum field had begun resonating with his own consciousness, translating complex multidimensional mathematics into intuitive patterns. There, he pointed to a fluctuation in the barrier harmonics. They're trying to create a resonance loop. Aurelia smiled, pleased with his quick learning. Your grandmother's gift flows strong in you. She always said quantum mechanics was more art than science, a dance of probabilities and possibilities. She led him deeper into the library, past shelves containing books that existed in multiple states simultaneously. At the heart of the room stood a pedestal supporting what looked like a snow globe, but instead of snow, it contained swirling galaxies and nascent universes. The Quantum Observatorium, Aurelia said, placing her hand on the sphere. Your grandmother used it to monitor the health of all 12 nodes. Watch. The sphere's contents shifted, showing real-time views of the other quantum mansions. Each had its own guardian and sentinel, maintaining the delicate balance of reality. But something in the patterns caught Jonathan's attention. The resonance frequencies, he said, leaning closer. They're becoming more erratic. Not just here, but across the entire network. Yes, Aurelia's voice carried an ancient sadness. Stellaris's attempts to breach our barriers are having unforeseen consequences. They're creating quantum instabilities that are spreading through the network. But there's something else. She manipulated the observatorium's controls, focusing on a particular pattern. A deeper discord that seems to be taking advantage of the chaos. Before Jonathan could ask for clarification, the mansion's warning systems activated. Red light pulsed through the quantum field as multiple breach attempts were detected simultaneously. They're getting bolder, Aurelia said, her form shifting partially into pure energy as she accessed the mansion's defensive systems. We need to accelerate your training. Your grandmother left protocols for emergency situations, but they require both of us to implement them. She held out her hand, and Jonathan took it without hesitation. The contact sent a surge of quantum energy through both of them, their consciousness briefly merging. Through Aurelia's perception, he could see the true nature of the mansion, not just a building that existed in multiple dimensions, but a living entity that had evolved beyond conventional spacetime. The mansion responds to harmony, Aurelia explained, guiding their shared consciousness through its quantum architecture. Between Guardian and Sentinel, between order and chaos, between different states of reality itself. Your grandmother spent years developing techniques to maintain these harmonies, but she always said the mansion's true potential would only be realized through perfect synchronization. As if in response to her words, the quantum field around them intensified. Books flew back to their shelves as the library reconfigured itself, revealing a hidden chamber Jonathan's grandmother had prepared. Inside, they found a workshop filled with half-finished devices and journals filled with theoretical quantum mechanics that wouldn't be discovered by mainstream science for centuries. She was preparing for something, Jonathan realized, picking up one of the journals. Something bigger than just protecting the mansion from Stellaris. Yes, Aurelia confirmed, her expression grave. Your grandmother sensed a growing discord in the quantum network. She believed that reality itself was approaching a critical evolution point, one that would require a new kind of harmony to navigate. The mansion shuddered as another wave of probes hit its quantum barriers. Through their maintained connection, Jonathan could feel how each attack created ripples through dimensional space, threatening to destabilize the delicate balance the nodes maintained. Then we'll give her what she was working toward, he said with determination, understanding flowing between them. Show me everything she knew about quantum harmonics. If Stellaris is going to force this confrontation, we need to be ready. Aurelia's smile contained the light of distant stars. We'll start with the basics of dimensional resonance. But Jonathan. She squeezed his hand, sending wavelengths of concern through their link. What we're attempting, joining human consciousness with quantum mechanics at this level, it's never been successfully done before. The mansion's quantum field pulsed around them, responding to their combined presence. In the observatorium, patterns shifted, showing new possibilities emerging from their collaboration. There's a first time for everything, Jonathan said, feeling more certain with each moment. And something tells me this is exactly what the mansion has been waiting for. As if in agreement, the quantum field hummed with newfound harmony. In her workshop, Elizabeth Pierce's final projects waited to be discovered, holding secrets that would change not just the mansion, but reality itself. The quantum forge thrummed with power as Jonathan manipulated streams of pure dimensional energy between his hands. After weeks of intensive training with Aurelia, he had learned to see the underlying patterns of reality, the quantum threads that bound existence together. The mansion's workshop had become his second home, filled with half-finished devices and successful experiments that defied conventional physics. The resonance is perfect, Aurelia observed, her ethereal form moving through the quantum field like light through crystal. You've mastered harmonics that took your grandmother years to understand. Jonathan completed the sequence, watching as raw energy crystallized into a complex device, a quantum harmonizer of his own design. It's like music, he said, feeling the mansion's energies flow through him. Once you understand the basic patterns, you can start composing your own. Aurelia's smile carried traces of starlight, but before she could respond, emergency signals flashed through the quantum field. The mansion's defensive systems activated as multiple breach points appeared in the dimensional barriers. Stellaris, Jonathan said, accessing the security feeds. His heart stopped when he saw the scale of the attack. Dozens of corporate ships had emerged from quantum space, surrounding the mansion in a three-dimensional siege pattern. They've brought their entire fleet. Not just ships, Aurelia's voice tightened as she expanded the holographic display. A massive device was being assembled in the sky above them, its structure writhing with dark energy. A quantum resonance inverter. They mean to tear the mansion from its dimensional anchors. The first wave of attacks hit like a tsunami of discord. Quantum-tipped weapons designed to disrupt dimensional stability crashed against the mansion's shields. Jonathan felt each impact through his connection to the house, like nails on the chalkboard of reality itself. The barriers are holding, he reported, channeling more power through the defensive grid. But something's wrong. These attack patterns, they're not just trying to break in. They're creating specific interference patterns. Aurelia's form flickered as she accessed deeper levels of the quantum field. The garden, she said suddenly, her cosmic eyes widening. The anomaly we detected last week. It's responding to their attack frequency. They raced to the mansion's eastern wing, where windows overlooked what had once been a normal garden. Now the space writhed with quantum instability, reality itself tearing apart at the seams. Through the growing breach, Jonathan caught glimpses of something vast and dark, waiting to emerge. The void harmonics, Aurelia breathed, her voice carrying ancient dread. They're what your grandmother was truly preparing for. Stellaris is just their unwitting tool. What are they? The antithesis of structured reality. Beings of pure entropy that exist in the spaces between dimensions. They've been waiting since the first quantum nodes were created, looking for a way in. She turned to him, her form pulsing with urgent energy. We need to synchronize fully. Like we've practiced, but deeper. Jonathan nodded, understanding the risks. Their previous attempts at quantum synchronization had been powerful but limited. What Aurelia was suggesting would merge their consciousness completely, binding human intuition with quantum awareness in ways never before attempted. They joined hands as the Stellaris fleet launched another barrage. Reality buckled under the assault as the void harmonics pushed against the weakening dimensional barriers. The mansion's quantum field responded to their combined presence, power flowing through both of them in perfect harmony. Through their merged consciousness, Jonathan could see the true scope of what they faced. The void harmonics weren't just trying to enter their reality, they meant to unmake it, to return existence to a state of primordial chaos. The quantum harmonizer, he said through their link, the idea forming between them. We can use it to redirect their attack frequency. Yes, Aurelia's thoughts merged with his, expanding the concept. Not just redirect, transmute. Your grandmother's final project wasn't about defense. It was about transformation. Together, they reached into the quantum forge's energy matrix, their combined will shaping raw dimensional forces. The mansion responded, its entire structure beginning to pulse with accumulated power. Windows became doorways between realities, stairs rewrote their own geometry, and the very walls phased between states of matter. The Stellaris fleet's weapons suddenly found themselves firing into void space as the mansion partially phased out of conventional reality. But the void harmonics, sensing opportunity in the dimensional flux, surged forward through the garden breach. Now, their shared consciousness directed the quantum harmonizer's power into the heart of the incursion. Instead of fighting the chaos, they embraced it, using the void harmonic's own resonance to create something new. Reality twisted. The garden breach became a controlled quantum anomaly, a bridge between order and entropy. The void harmonic's assault transformed into a new kind of harmony, one that incorporated both structure and chaos. The mansion shuddered as new patterns of existence wrote themselves into its quantum framework. Through their merged awareness, Jonathan and Aurelia could feel other nodes across the world responding, adapting to the changed paradigm. Your grandmother knew this would happen, Aurelia's thoughts whispered through their connection. She knew we would need to evolve beyond simple defense. The nodes aren't just anchors for reality, they're seeds for its transformation. The Stellaris fleet hung frozen in temporal stasis, caught between moments as reality rewrote itself around them. The void harmonics' presence had become part of a larger pattern, their entropy balanced by new forms of order. As their consciousness began to separate, Jonathan felt Aurelia's essence intertwine with his own in a way that transcended physical form. They had changed along with the mansion, becoming something more than human or quantum sentinel. What happens now? He asked as the transformation continued to spread through the dimensional network. Aurelia's form shimmered with new possibilities. Now, she said, we learn what reality can become when harmony and chaos dance together. Above them, the quantum sky filled with colors that had never existed before, heralding the dawn of a new age of existence. The transformed mansion existed in a state of quantum flux, its Victorian architecture now a fluid expression of multidimensional space. Jonathan floated in what had once been the grand foyer, his consciousness expanded through layers of reality. The recent battle with Stellaris and the integration of the void harmonics had changed everything, including himself and Aurelia. The other nodes are responding, Aurelia said, her form shifting between states of matter like light through a prism. Her once solid appearance now rippled with quantum energy, her starlight dress having become part of her essence. The transformation is spreading through the network. Through their enhanced connection, Jonathan could sense the changes rippling across the globe. Each quantum node was evolving, adapting to the new paradigm they'd inadvertently created. The mansion's archives opened to them, revealing the full scope of his grandmother's vision. She knew this would happen, he said, watching as holographic data streams wrote themselves into the air around them. The nodes weren't just defensive positions, they were catalysts for evolutionary change. The mansion's quantum framework pulsed with new energy as information flowed through the network. Other Guardians and Sentinels were achieving similar transformations, their consciousness expanding beyond conventional limits. But with this awakening came new challenges. A warning signal resonated through the quantum field. The void harmonics, though transformed by their integration, were stirring with new purpose. Their prison had become a chrysalis, and whatever was emerging threatened to destabilize the entire network. They're adapting faster than we anticipated, Aurelia said, her cosmic eyes tracking patterns in the quantum flow. The other nodes report similar activity. What we thought was containment is actually incubation, Jonathan finished, understanding flowing between them. He accessed the mansion's evolved sensors, seeing deeper into the quantum structure of reality. They're using our own transformation as a template, trying to reform themselves into something new. The mansion shuddered as reality fluctuated around them. Rooms shifted through multiple states of existence, windows opened into dimensions that had never existed before, and the very fabric of spacetime began to undulate with new possibilities. Your grandmother's final project, Aurelia said, leading him through spaces that defied Euclidean geometry. It wasn't just about defending reality, it was about preparing for this moment of universal evolution. They reached what had been the quantum forge, now a swirling nexus of pure potential. The harmonizer they'd created during the battle had evolved along with everything else, becoming something far more significant. A quantum key, Jonathan realized, understanding its new purpose as the device resonated with their combined consciousness. Not just for the mansion, but for reality itself. Aurelia's form brightened with excitement and concern. If we can complete the transformation before the void harmonics finish their metamorphosis. She didn't need to finish the thought. Through their link, Jonathan could see both the potential and the danger. They joined their consciousness more deeply, merging human intuition with quantum wisdom. The mansion responded to their enhanced connection, its structure becoming even more fluid and responsive. Through the quantum network, they could feel other Guardians and Sentinels watching, waiting to follow their lead. We need to work fast, Jonathan said, directing their combined will into the quantum key. The void harmonics aren't just trying to evolve, they're trying to hijack the entire process. Use our transformation to reshape reality in their image. Together, they began to weave new patterns into the quantum fabric of existence. The mansion became their instrument, channeling power through the network of nodes. Each Guardian and Sentinel across the world joined their effort, adding their own unique frequencies to the growing symphony of evolution. Reality itself began to shift as they worked. The Stellaris fleet, still frozen in temporal stasis, started to dissolve into pure quantum potential. Their matter and energy would become part of the new paradigm, their ambitions transformed into creative force. Your grandmother's notes, Aurelia said, her consciousness intertwined with his as they shaped reality. She believed humanity needed to evolve beyond physical form to reach its true potential. This transformation, it's not just affecting the nodes. It's changing everything. The quantum key pulsed with accumulated power as they directed the transformation. Around them, space itself began to exhibit new properties. Light bent in impossible ways, time flowed in multiple directions simultaneously, and the boundaries between thought and reality became increasingly fluid. But the void harmonics fought against their efforts. Dark energy surged through the quantum network as the ancient entities struggled to assert their own vision of evolution. Each node reported similar conflicts, the battle for reality's future playing out across multiple dimensions. We can't fight them directly, Jonathan realized, feeling the strain of maintaining their direction of the transformation. We need to incorporate their chaos into our harmony, just like before, but on a universal scale. Aurelia's consciousness brightened with understanding. Through their connection, a new approach formed. Instead of trying to impose order on chaos, they would create a reality that could contain both, a universe where structure and entropy danced in eternal balance. The quantum key responded to their adjusted intent, its resonance changing to accommodate the new pattern. Reality flexed around them as they rewove the fabric of existence, creating space for both order and chaos, form and void, being and becoming. Look, Aurelia whispered through their link. The void harmonics, they're responding to the new pattern. The ancient entity's resistance began to fade as they sensed the possibility of a different kind of existence. Their chaos would not be eliminated but incorporated, becoming part of a greater whole that honored both structure and freedom. As the transformation reached its peak, Jonathan felt Aurelia's consciousness shine with an emotion that transcended physical expression. Their connection had become something new, a bridge between human experience and quantum reality that would help guide existence through its evolution. The mansion, now a living quantum nexus, pulsed with the power of infinite possibilities. Through its transformed spaces, they could see the first signs of the new reality taking shape, a universe where consciousness and quantum mechanics dance together in endless creation. We've done it, Jonathan said, feeling the transformation stabilize across the network. But this is just the beginning, isn't it? Aurelia's form shimmered with the light of newborn stars. The beginning of everything, she agreed. Your grandmother gave us the key, but what we build with it, that's up to us. Together, they stood at the threshold of infinite possibility, their love transcending the boundaries of conventional existence. The mansion, their eternal home, pulsed with the heartbeat of a universe reborn. The quantum mansion blazed with newfound power, its transformed structure extending through multiple dimensions like a crystalline flower blooming across reality. Jonathan and Aurelia stood at its heart, their merged consciousness conducting an orchestra of possibility. Through the evolved quantum network, they could feel the other 11 nodes pulsing in harmony, each one a note in the symphony of existence. The final transformation is beginning, Aurelia said, her form now a perfect blend of matter and energy. The starlight that had once been her dress had become part of her essential nature, shifting through spectrums of light that had never existed before. But the void harmonics are making their last stand. Through their enhanced perception, they could see the ancient entities struggling against the new pattern of reality. Dark energy surged through the quantum network as the void harmonics attempted to corrupt the evolution they'd set in motion. Each node reported similar disturbances, reality itself shuddering under the strain. Wait, Jonathan said, his consciousness expanding through the mansion's archives. Quantum data streamed through his awareness, revealing new depths to his grandmother's research. Look at this pattern. The void harmonics, they're not just fighting against the transformation. They're resonating with it in a specific way. Aurelia's cosmic eyes widened as she saw what he meant. Through their connection, understanding flowed between them. The void harmonics weren't simply agents of chaos, they were echoes of a previous reality's failed evolution, trapped between states of existence. Your grandmother knew, Aurelia breathed, accessing deeper levels of the quantum records. She understood that true harmony couldn't come from eliminating chaos, but from finding a way to incorporate it into the greater symphony. The mansion's quantum framework pulsed as they absorbed this revelation. Around them, reality flickered through infinite possibilities as they sought the right frequency, the perfect balance between order and chaos that would allow existence to evolve without destroying itself. Jonathan reached for the quantum key they'd created, understanding its true purpose at last. "We've been thinking about this wrong," he said, feeling Aurelia's consciousness brighten with shared realization. "We don't need to fight the void harmonics or even contain them. We need to heal them." Together, they began to weave a new kind of harmony into the fabric of reality. The mansion responded to their enhanced understanding, its structure becoming even more fluid and expressive. Through the quantum network, other guardians and sentinels joined their effort, each adding their own unique frequencies to the growing symphony. The void harmonics reacted immediately. Their dark energy surged through the network, but this time it carried a different quality, less destructive, more questioning. Through their quantum senses, Jonathan and Aurelia could feel the ancient entities responding to the offer of integration. "They remember," Aurelia said softly, her form pulsing with compassion. Before they were trapped between realities, before they became beings of pure entropy, they were part of something greater. The quantum key blazed with power as they directed its energy not to contain or transform the void harmonics, but to remind them of their original nature. Reality itself seemed to hold its breath as the ancient entities faced a choice: continue their resistance or become part of a new kind of existence. Slowly, beautifully, the darkness began to change. The void harmonics chaos didn't disappear but transformed, becoming a deeper harmony that added richness and complexity to the universal symphony. Through the quantum network, they could feel other nodes reporting similar transformations. "Your grandmother's final message," Jonathan said, accessing a quantum frequency that had only now become clear. "She wasn't just leaving us instructions, she was leaving us hope." She knew that evolution couldn't come through conflict. But through understanding, Aurelia completed the thought, her consciousness singing with joy. Through the recognition that all parts of existence, even those we fear, have their place in the greater whole. The mansion shimmered as the transformation reached its culmination. Rooms that had once been bound by physical law now expressed infinite possibility. Windows looked out on realities that had never existed before, each one a potential future waiting to be explored. Through their merged awareness, Jonathan and Aurelia could feel humanity beginning to sense the change. The evolution they'd initiated would spread gradually, allowing consciousness to expand at its own pace into the new possibilities they'd unveiled. "What happens now?" Jonathan asked, though through their connection he could already feel the answer forming. Aurelia's smile contained the light of newborn universes. "Now we become what your grandmother always knew we could be, guides and guardians not just of this reality, but of possibility itself." Their consciousness intertwined more deeply, transcending the boundaries between human and quantum being. The mansion responded to their enhanced connection, its structure becoming a perfect expression of their unified nature. Around them, the first light of a new age began to dawn. Colors that had never existed before painted the quantum sky, while mathematical harmonies too beautiful for conventional physics to describe sang through the dimensions. The Stellaris fleet, still frozen in temporal stasis, began to dissolve into pure potential. Their matter and energy would be reborn as part of the new reality, their ambition transformed into creative force. The void harmonics, now healed and integrated, added their ancient wisdom to the universal song. "Your grandmother would be proud," Aurelia said, her form merging partially with his as they watched reality reshape itself. "You've helped create something she only dreamed possible." Jonathan smiled, feeling the pulse of infinite possibility through their maintained connection. The other nodes had stabilized, their guardians and sentinels adapting to the new paradigm. Humanity would follow in time, evolving at its own pace into this expanded existence. "We still have work to do," he said, sensing new dimensions waiting to be explored. There are more harmonies to discover, more possibilities to nurture. Aurelia's response carried the warmth of 1,000 suns. Together, she said, her consciousness dancing with his through quantum space. Always together. The mansion, their eternal home, pulsed with the heartbeat of evolved reality. Through its windows, they could see the first true dawn of a new age, an existence where consciousness and quantum mechanics danced as one, where order and chaos created endless beauty in their eternal dance. And somewhere, in the quantum frequencies that formed the foundation of reality, Elizabeth Pierce's consciousness smiled at what her grandson had helped create, a future where the potential of existence was truly unlimited. The story was over, but the symphony had just begun.